I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Charter Review Commission, our presentation from the work that we have been doing the past 3 or 4 months. So my name is Elisa Bowers. I was the chair. Mike Volz was our vice chair, and we had other members, Vicki Stolop-Causey, Mary Dubois, Lee Shaw, Mike Shupp, Tamara Williams, Kelly McKee, and Deborah Crosby. And I would like to thank everybody for the work that they did, and they did some really hard work. I'd also really like to thank Jeff Winget and Brian Gallardi. They were our council liaisons. And I'd really like to give a big shout out to Laura Hallmark. She was our staff liaison. She took care of our boards where we can have some input. And she also helped with the PowerPoint and kind of helped us the whole way through. So we're very, very grateful for Laura. The city charter is basically a foundational document for our city. We are a home rule charter city, and every few years we get together and we look at the charter to see if anything needs to be changed. We adopted the Home Rule Charter in 1979, and obviously we've had some changes since then. What do? Basically, we review the charter and see if there are any changes that need to be made, make sure that we are consistent throughout all of our city documents. So does the charter match with our ordinances and all of our internal documents? So it's a pretty good little job there. There is you can find the city charter on the website, of course, and there are a couple of hard copies in the back. In July of this year, the council decided they wanted to have the charter reviewed, and so they put together our committee. They first discussed having a charter review session in July. The commission was put together, and we've had 3 meetings so far. So there were 5 items that the city council wanted us to look at, and these are the ones that they asked us to review. So the first one was about the municipal court and how the court clerk is appointed. The second one is about the city council vacancies and attendance, and specifically the failure to attend. So how many meetings is it until you're considered to have abandoned your position? The next one is the meetings of city council, how to call a special meeting. Currently, in order to call a special meeting, you needed 4 council members to call a special meeting, but that actually violates the quorum Open Meetings Act, so that didn't really work. So that needed to be looked at. The fourth one is the municipal judge and how the municipal judge can be removed. And then the final one was the scope of review, which allows the Charter Review Commission to decide the scope of what they want to look at. So basically the process that we used was we broke out into subcommittees, and each subcommittee took one of those little pieces and researched it. And I really would like to thank all of the commission members. They did a great job putting together a lot of great information. We compared our standard 19 cities, like if in standard kind of city work, you look at cities that are close to you, you look at cities that are in a similar size. So we did that, and we put together a document, and we reviewed that in October. I would really like to put a shout out to Kelly McKee. She did an awesome job of compiling all sorts of great information so we could see how we compare to the other comparable cities. Those comparable cities are basically right around here. Some of them are bigger, some of them might be a little smaller, but basically they have comparable statistics to ours. Kelly, like I said, Kelly did a great job of compiling all that information. We sent it out to all commission members, so they reviewed it before our October meeting. And then in October, we voted on the new language for each of those 5 recommendations. So, the first section, 3.09, we decided that instead of just saying 3, originally in our charter, it was you could miss 3 consecutive meetings that were unexcused. It considered the office to be vacant. Now we have recommended that it includes special meetings as well, not only regular meetings. So that was the change on that one. The next one is the meetings of the City Council. We recommended that we follow the Open Meetings Act, and a special meeting can be recommended or asked for by 3 council members, not 4. The municipal court, we have recommended that the clerk be appointed by the city manager on the recommendation by the city judge. So basically this is, we're going back to the language that we used prior to 2021. This was one that was talked about a lot, how to remove the judge. And basically, there was a lot of research done on this, and by adding, the judge can be removed by the city council with a majority of the council. And basically, that is in line with all of our 19 cities. There were 1 or 2 that were a little bit different, but pretty much that's standard throughout all city charters. We do have a couple of other meetings coming up. We are going to have public comment tonight. We're going to have our next meeting on November 14th, which is next Monday, and you can give 3-minute input there. And of course, you can always email us. Laura, they could email lhallmark@rowlett.com.
Yes,
or they can use the citizen input online. So we'll be happy to take your comments that way. We will present our recommendations in January to the City Council. And it is important for everybody to know that it is City Council who makes the decisions about how the charter review, or how to amend the charter. We're, as the commission, we make recommendations, and it's up for the council to decide what they want to put on the election. So basically, that's it. That is my presentation. And does anybody have any questions or comments?
Why do you recommend that? No, I mean, we can do it from here. Under
Section 504, paragraph 4, the removal of a judge. I think that it really should be at will or for cause by a supermajority, 3/4 of the city council. And what that will do is eliminate any question as to whether or not it's just difference of opinion between a couple council members in the judiciary, the legislation plans in the judiciary, or if it's truly a situation that needs to be resolved by removal.
All righty, so our first comment is that with the removal of the judge, is that it should be either at will or for cause. And additionally, our neighbor feels like it should be a supermajority of council instead of just a majority. And he feels like that would help eliminate any bias or any hard feelings. So I appreciate that. Anybody else? Yes.
Now, Lisa, what was the rationale of the commission to remove, terminate, I'm referring to 5.04 municipal judge, remove the termination of the judge in accordance with state law? Wouldn't state law apply first to the conditions that a judge could be removed? And what was the rationale in removing that part of the recommendation?
I think it was twofold. Number one, the state law process can take a long time. And number two is that it would take a long time, and we want to be in line with most of the cities around us. And like I said, the majority of the cities around us do have it with city council having the authority to make that removal. Yes, Laura.
Also, in accordance with state law, by having this statement in the charter, it allows you to remove the judge rather than going through the onerous process that's outlined in state law. If you have this in your charter, it allows you to do it. If you do not have it in the charter, it does not allow you to do it.
Then you have to apply the state.
Anybody else have thoughts, comments? I know you have more.
Well, it's on section 1203, paragraph 3, scope. Currently, it's written that the city council will provide the scope of review to the charter commission. And I think your recommendation says that you'll determine the scope. And I think maybe the language should be more appropriately that the city council shall determine the minimum scope of the review by the commission. And what that will do is make sure that the commission addresses all the concerns that the city council may have with the charter, while at the same time allowing the commission the opportunity to maybe run down a rabbit hole that they find while in the process of making those reviews, you discover other things, and be able to bring those forward to the city council, I think would be beneficial.
So I think that is a great point. So a little synopsis of what he said is that the city council can provide a minimum of what the charter should look at, but allow the Charter Review Commission to go ahead and follow whatever they find as well, or whatever is important to them, but that council would provide the minimum direction. That's not something that had been brought up, so that's excellent. Anybody else?
I agree with all the other things that you have to say.
Well, yay! Yay, yay, yay. Jeff, do you have any comments you would like to make?
I think the only comment I would make in regards to what you said, John, is if you have it be a supermajority, determine if that's a 2/3 supermajority or a 3/4 supermajority, because that does determine if it's 5 or 6 council members that would.
Right, I said 3/4 of city council.
You did specifically say that, yes.
Okay, just a little synopsis in case you didn't hear it. Jeff said to determine the supermajority, would it be a 2/3 or 3/4 majority? And John is recommending a 3/4 supermajority. So that would be 5 out of 7.
Six out of 7.
I'm sorry, 6 out of 7.
If you got 7 council members, so if you already scooted one because they missed 3 consecutive meetings.
All righty, Deb, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to thank the commission for all of their hard work. I've been watching the meeting videos and seeing, you know, some of the discussion that you've gone through, and I know I've been on the charter commission before. I know how much work it really is, and I just want to say that I really appreciate that, and I look forward to your recommendations coming to the council.
Well, Deb says, thank you, we did a good job. That's my synopsis of that. So I really do appreciate the fact that y'all, that our council does appreciate that it was a lot of work, and I would really like to emphasize that there was a lot of research that went into it. 19 cities is a lot to compare. And so we had some people, very, very dedicated people who went through line by line and really worked hard to make sure, because these are foundational documents and they are really important. And so I'm just very grateful to all of the people that were on the commission with me, the people that provided public input. Is there anything anybody else would like to comment? Throw tomatoes, I'm not sure. No. Okay, well, then I'm going to say that this public hearing is now at a close, and I hope you guys have a great evening. Drive home safe.